Chapter 62-68. As he said that, he turned to look at the confused senior partners and said loudly, "Everyone, there is something I have never told you. Nate Ellis, that BA5 tard, set a trap for me at work and induced me to complete a typical financial crime. However, I was kept in the dark for a long time. Until recently. I learned that the reason he induced me to commit a crime was to secretly obtain my criminal evidence and use it as a threat to me." Nate was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He quickly grabbed Jimmy and pleaded in a low voice, "Jimmy, if you think the compensation I gave you is not enough, you can speak up and I can fight for more benefits for you. But if you expose my secrets and make me lose my reputation, you will definitely suffer the consequences." Jimmy said disdainfully, "What's wrong with me exposing your secrets? Even if I expose your secrets, you still have to suffer for me. And I will have to suffer for 10 years. After that, he looked at everyone and continued, "Everyone, all of you senior partners should have committed financial crimes. I believe you are all aware of this. And I can also tell you clearly that your previous financial crimes have been left with evidence by Nate, the BA5 tard. You are valuable to him, and he will use this evidence as a bargaining chip to threaten you in the future. And as a time bomb buried next to you. If you are of no value to him, he will use this evidence to send you to jail and ruin your second half of life." Nate quickly said, "Don't believe what Jimmy said. This guy is an ungrateful person. Before I came here, I just signed a new option agreement with him. And I have to pay him at least an extra $10 million every year. But he turned around and falsely accused me in front of everyone. This kind of person is not even a human being. He is worse than scum." Jimmy sneered, looked at someone in the venue, and said, "Eric, you 2 years ago took over a divorce case of a well-known golfer privately and helped his wife to divide $70 million of assets from him. You yourself got $7 million. According to the agreement you signed with the company, you have violated the non-competition clause. If you undertake legal-related business without the company's permission, you must compensate the company 10 times the income. In this case, as long as the company sues you in court, you will face a huge liability of $70 million. Do you know this?" The man called Eric was frightened and his face turned pale. The order he took privately was not a client of Ellis law firm, but a friend introduced him directly. Although he thought he had done it perfectly, he didn't expect that Jimmy actually accurately stated the target amount of the whole case and the identity of the other party, which was enough to prove that he had mastered the key evidence of his violation of the non-competition agreement. But he didn't dare to admit it in front of his boss. So he could only play dumb and said, "Jimmy, what are you talking about? Why don't I understand?" Jimmy said with contempt, "Do you think that only I know this secret? Let me tell you, this secret was told to me by Nate. The client who came to sue you was the one he secretly introduced to you. His purpose in doing so was to obtain all the evidence that you violated the agreement. You thought you made $7 million, but in fact, he at least got $70 million on you. Once you want to change jobs or quit to start a business in the future, he will use this evidence to punish you. At that time, you will have to give him the money you have earned in Ellis for many years with interest." When the man heard this, he was stunned for a moment, while others were shocked. They could see from Eric's expression that what Jimmy said was not groundless, which meant that Eric did such a thing. And if Jimmy's things about Nate were also true, then Nate's methods were too cruel. Nate was completely panicked at this time. He looked at Jimmy and asked in a low voice, "Jimmy, what do you want? What good will it do for you to do this to me?" Jimmy sneered, "Don't worry, Nate. How could I do anything bad to you? Don't forget, we just signed a 10-year contract. I am counting on you to support me for the next 10 years. No one wants you to live well more than I do."